What is up, my fellow Chibits? Today, I'm here to bring all of you the weekly manga chapter review of Tokyo Ghoul chapter 92. Now, I know you're probably all going to ask why didn't I do a live reaction. Well, the reason for that is because I was kind of spoiled this morning, so it didn't really give me a chance to actually do a live reaction because, you know, I don't want a fake live reaction, just going to be straight up. So, I couldn't do a live reaction because I was kind of spoiled this morning. So, I said, okay, so I'm just going to do a review. And I did read the chapter, and I'm going to be just point blank before I even dive into the review, diving into panel by panel and stuff. This chapter is incredibly simple. Now, there is some certain things going on here and there, and I know there's some probably other hidden meaning you could pull out of this chapter, but getting straight to the point, this chapter, Tokyo Ghoul, is very simple, and I highly doubt this video is going to be long. Now, I'm not just playing around. I highly doubt this video is going to be as long as my normal Tokyo Ghoul reviews, like 30 minutes to 40 minutes. You know, I highly doubt this might even reach 20 minutes, because it is a very simple chapter. I'm not even lying. It really is, but that doesn't mean it's bad. I'm just saying it's a simple chapter. Okay, so, I just want to talk about this cover page first thing. This cover page, oh my. I mean, we all knew it was coming last week because of the announcement last week at the end of the chapter. We knew there was going to be a color page this week, but oh my, this color page. Like, okay, obviously we know who it is, it's Kuro, but I want everybody to take note of the way this, you know, cover page looks. I love, first things first, I love the hair. I love the hair. The way Ashida Sensei drew the hair of Kuro looks so freaking good. I love the white look to it, and then, you know, the black on top reminds me a lot of Heisei Sasaki, and also I feel like she is trying to talk, like, mention or kind of reference Shiro and Kuro. As we know, Corona, she wants, you know, Shiro to be brought back, and you have it where Dr. Connor's like, no, she's completely dead, she's not coming back, and I like how the hair kind of represents both of the twins right there, the way it's drawn, but also I love how it just shows one eye as well, just one eye instead of both eyes being, you know, Kakugan like we've been seeing with through Kuro. I'm glad, like, only one eye is completely just, you know, Kakugan. So, I mean, the overall design of the hair to the way she looks, I know what Ashida's probably trying to reference, but I also do like the design, the way it looks. I mean, I love the way her, like, the blood is drawn on her face and all that. It's so cool. I really love Ashida's color pages and stuff, the way he does it. It just looks absolutely amazing, and this is instantly thumbnail material. I'm going to probably have to clean up some of the writing on the side, but this is instantly thumbnail material. That's just how good this color page is. I love this, like, little color page, or front cover page, whatever, you know, title you want to give it. It just looks completely good. Now, on the bottom here, we actually get the cover of the next volume of Tokyo Ghoul, which I haven't yet to order, I have yet to actually receive, but apparently we have an announcement on this color page that says, over 20 million copies sold, thank you. Brand new Volume 8 hit stores Friday, September 16th, including an omake, as usual. So, pretty much, Volume 8's cover is Arima. Now, I might show it on the screen, I might not. You can go to the, you know, the color page of the recent chapter Tokyo Ghoul if you want to see it. But the cover of the, you know, next volume of Tokyo Ghoul is Arima on the front. I'm a big fan of that. I'm glad Arima got, you know, the front cover because, I mean, look, I mean, you shouldn't be on this video anyways because you should be up to date. But just in case, spoiler alert, as we know, Arima, he died. I'm glad to see that he, at the very least, even though he died, he gets at least one final cover. He gets a cover on a volume before he's completely done, because, I mean, as we know, he's dead now. He's legit dead. He had a very symbolic death. I covered it quite a bit with multiple videos, and seeing him get the cover page and all that, or the cover of, you know, the next volume, it makes me happy. I'm really glad Ashida Sensei did that. So, yeah, I mean, I have yet to actually really dive in and look at the cover. I haven't actually seen the bigger, you know, version of the cover. I've only seen, like, little pieces and small clips of it, but I can't wait to actually receive my copy very soon, because I can't wait to actually just open it up and see, you know, Arima's death and actual volume covers and all that, like in the volume chapters, because as we know, when it comes to the scans usually look a little bit worse compared to the actual, you know, chapter, and it depends on scans of how we kind of see this certain amount of symbolism, maybe tarot cards and stuff like that. So I can't wait to see how, you know, the volume looks, how the chapters look inside of it when it's actually in volume form. So yeah, let me get off of that. I'm just, congrats Ashida Sensei for selling over 20 million copies. That's a very good feat. I'm glad he sold that much. I'm glad, you know, Volume 8's coming out, and I'm glad Arima got, you know, a cover for Volume 8. So that being said, let's dive straight into this chapter review. Okay, So the first page here continues off for last week's chapter in and on. You have it to where Pineapple got stabbed in the eye. Now, as we all speculated, I talked about it in my last week's video, Tokyo Ghoul. I said there's only two people it could possibly be. It could either be Suzuya or it could be Mutsuki. And as we found out in this chapter, it's discovered that is in fact Mutsuki that stabbed Seidou in the eyeball. Now, is that enough to put Seidou down? No, it's not. But, once again, I want to let everybody factor this in, okay? It's one of the big things I've been trying to push forward these past couple chapter reviews or videos I've done, is that Seidou, he's a Ukaku ghoul. He is a ghoul that has low stamina. And we have to factor in what he's been doing in these recent chapters, how much he's been fighting. He's been fighting Tatra, he fought Hoji, he fought the CCG, and now, you know, he's fighting Almond. We notice he doesn't have his Kakujo no longer activated. I mean, we know he has to be running out of stamina. Regardless of how powerful a ghoul you may be, if you're a Ukaku ghoul, one of your biggest weaknesses is your stamina. And we know he has to be running out of stamina. And so, there is a likely possibility after all these fights that he could necessarily lose or get severely injured by Mutsuki because of him constantly fighting these big tier opponents and then weakening his stamina. So, we're not going to throw that off the table. There is a possibility Pineapple could get hurt or even die in this fight because of Ukaku Ghoul's, you know, weakness, stamina. Okay, so he gets stabbed in the eye. And the chapter title is called Ugly Head. That is exactly what this chapter title is called. I don't understand exactly what the reference of the chapter title means. I want to assume when it comes to Ugly Head, it has something to do with the mind or something, knowing Ishida. I didn't really take a lot of time to dive into the meaning of the chapter title, so forgive me for that. But if any of you know the exact meaning of the chapter title, what it exactly means, because, you know, sometimes Ishida loves hiding it in, you know, the actual Japanese writing, and we can't really get it. For, like, English readers and stuff, we won't actually get the meaning behind it. You have to look at the people that can actually read the traditional Japanese, you know, chapters for we can understand the meaning of what maybe Ugly Head might mean for this chapter. So if anyone has any ideas for what this might mean, please let me know in the comments below. I'm interested because, you know, as you all know, I love finding out more about Tokyo Ghoul. So if you guys know anything about, you know, the meaning of this chapter title, please leave it in the comments below. Okay, so Mutsuki arrives, and instantly, as I said, this was the only two possibilities. It could only be Mutsuki, it only could be Suzuya. And now it is the outcome that we probably did not want to see. Mutsuki. Now, why is that? Why do we not want to see Mutsuki here? Well, one of the biggest reasons is because we know Mutsuki now is mentally unstable. We saw what happened with Torso. We saw the outcome of what happened to him. And what Mutsuki did to this man. It was fucked. It was really fucked. I'm not even going to dive into the gritty details because it's pretty damn fucked up, okay? I covered it and I was just like, what the fuck when you found out what Mutsuki did to poor Torso. I mean, Torso was a monster. He was an ass. He was a creep. I understand that shit, but what Mutsuki did to that man, that was like, whoa, whoa, 0 to 100, like, way too fast. Like, holy crap. So Mutsuki, as we know, mentally unstable, been following, like, kind of a similar path as Kaneki. Kaneki finally reached up over the cliff and pulled himself out of the darkness, while Mutsuki fell down into the dark pit. That's pretty much what happened. And there is a possibility that Mutsuki could turn into a serial killer, and might direct that towards men in general, because of what happened to Torso. And so with Floppy being there, Almond, and then Seidou / Pineapple, there's a possibility these both could be trying to get killed by Mutsuki. Like, Mutsuki might try to kill them because of what's going on. I mean, that is a very likely possibility because of the smile we see later on. But this is a very, very bad thing to see. Mutsuki being here means all around that this is a dangerous situation. Akira is not even safe. She is not safe. Akira is not safe in this situation because of the mindset of Mutsuki at this time. Now, one thing, though, that was mentioned, you have it to where Akira is like, so I guess you're okay then. And then all of a sudden, Mutsuki's like instantly there, pops up, is like, I would be hard-pressed to call myself okay. But I have been saved by this body of mine. The overall dialogue that she says right there, like what she emphasizes, like, I'd be hard-pressed to call myself okay, but because of my ghoul body, I am fine. So, Mutsuki is aware that there is something definitely off with him. Like, Mutsuki instantly knows there's something off, something that completely, you know, negates what Mutsuki used to once be. And then, eventually, Mutsuki's like, in any event, the SS rate Owl and Floppy. And then you hear heavy breathing from Almond. My apologies, I had my transmitter stolen, and pretty much Mutsuki's like saying, my transmitter was stolen, so I didn't have the time to signal in that, you know, I was coming. And he's like, and then Mutsuki's like, are reinforcements on their way? And then Akira, you know, response says, yes. Suzuya squad and Ure squad Ure is very well. Now, this is the very strange thing about this entire segment with Mutsuki. When Mutsuki's like, Ure squad, Ure is, and then you just see how Mutsuki turns his head real quickly, and then looks away, and then says, I will buy time. Now, we know there's some complications between Mutsuki and Ure. We've known about this. We know about, like, kind of their relationship and connection we've seen growing on the sidelines, but now seeing how Mutsuki has turned out and what he has done just goes to show you that maybe Mutsuki doesn't want Ure to see him because of how different he is, what he has become. So, the fight is pretty much about to begin, and soon as Mutsuki releases his Kagane, you see Akira have a cut appear on her face. Now, what this means, from my perspective, of my interpretation of the chapter, is that Mutsuki has kind of, like, flipped the switch. Instantly flipped the switch. You can see by the demeanor, the way Mutsuki looks. He is smiling, has this smile, you see this, like, breath, like, just this big breath, like, gasp of air coming out, and then Akira realizes, like, whoa, what the fuck is going on? Like, I just got cut by Mutsuki, my face got completely cut by the Kagane. What does this necessarily mean? Does this mean that maybe Mutsuki has flipped a switch to where he no longer cares about what happens in the vicinity of this area? For instance, if anyone's in the way, they'll get cut up into pieces? Or is Mutsuki just not aware of what he just did to Akira? There's a lot of, you know, I guess speculation you can kind of make out of the situation, but this is not good. Especially with that face expression that Mutsuki is making with the smile. We know something is going on. Akira could possibly still get hurt. And also, Mutsuki's probably going for blood, trying to kill Floppy, trying to kill Seidou. Both of them are probably going to have to work together, so they're both going to have to try to escape to get out of there. Now, one of the things we got to factor in is that Seidou is weak. I'm once again going to emphasize that. He is weak. He probably no longer can fight as well as he once did. Mutsuki might be able to put up a fight and maybe even kill him. Almond might have to step in and have to save Seidou and get him out. So now I could see something like that happening. Maybe Almond, since he wanted to save Seidou, he might grab Seidou and try to run off with him and then leave Akira there. But I highly doubt maybe... I highly doubt Almond would leave even Akira there if someone like Mutsuki is doing that type of harm to Akira, especially leaving a cut. I doubt even Almond would probably leave Akira behind as well, so he might try to save her too. But there's a lot of, you know, variables in this entire situation, but it's not good. This is probably one of the worst outcomes that could happen, especially with, you know, even Seidou running weak and low on fuel. That would mean that Mutsuki can have his way with all of them. Anyways, getting off of this page, let's go into the next segment. So we get into the Kuro versus the QS squad, or the new QS by Dr. Kano. And I instantly just want to point out about this entire segment of this chapter, is that Dr. Kano, the facial expressions this man is making is just so fucked. I mean, last week, this man was just so cruel, just saying, like, farts. Oh, those are just farts. I mean, this man was just, that was giving a big fuck you to Kuro. That was a big fuck you. But this man, throughout the entirety of this chapter, he just seems so giddy, so happy. I mean, like, let's look at the expressions in this, okay? You have to where two experiments are going to square off against each other. Kuro, and then the new QS, which we know was actually a used-to-be CCG agent that Furuta actually made, or got killed. For instance, moved him in the way and got completely stabbed through. And we know these are pretty much two experiments from Dr. Kano. He's kind of brought them and turned them into ghouls. He's looking at this, like, smiling all happily. He's like, go. And they're just about ready to have a match and start to kill each other. And as they're just going all out, fighting and all that, you see it to where the doctor, he just smiles. Like, this man is legit just smiling. Like, let's look at this, one panel. He's like, oh, is that so? Everyone is gonna die by the steam? And he's just smiling. He's just like, I'm like, yo, what the fuck is wrong with this man? Like, this man straight up, like, the way he's acting, he's like, he's impressed. He's impressed that his QS got killed like that. Kuro did that. It's like he's happy. He's like, yo, this is good. You know, we know he's a scientist. We know he's not good. He's not a good guy, and he's not 100% villain either. He's a very fucked up character. I'm not gonna say he's not, but I mean, he's a character we know that has caused a lot of issues, he's done a lot of evil things, but he's done a lot of these things to help the world out, so it just depends on your viewpoint. But still, at the end of the day, he is an ass, and what he's doing is pretty much like a dick move. I mean, it's like, is that so? Everyone, and he just smiles. I'm like, yo, what the fuck is wrong with this man? This man is legit fucked. So, let's talk about the fight anyways. I talked about Dr. Kano, let's talk about the fight. So, Kuro pretty much quickly dispatches the new QS, you know, character that was introduced, and just whoops his ass. Like, he literally stands no chance. You have to where the steam falls on him, and he gets completely fucked up, and then he dies. Or, from what we can assume, he is dead, and Kuro just walks past his body, and then eventually you have it to where more QS members pop up. So this is the other agent bodies that Dr. Kano is experimenting on. All these other bodies are now coming back, and then, you know, they're also QS members, which are going to be fighting Kuro. So let's talk about this. Now we know that Shirazu's body was taken. We do know Shirazu's body was taken. Dr. Kano was experimenting on it. There is a likely possibility before this is all said and done, before this fight with Kuro is completely done, we might see some form of Shirazu. Maybe not the Shirazu we know and love, but we might see some form of Shirazu in upcoming chapters because of Dr. Kano and his experiments. Seeing what he has done with, you know, all these people. And you know what I find very funny, actually? How Dr. Kano says he's not Dr. Frankenstein. Remember how he stated that last week? He's like, I'm not Dr. Frankenstein. Do I need to channel lightning from the sky? And I mean, yes, I understand the point that Dr. Kano is trying to say, but you gotta factor in what he's done already. Like, bringing back the, you know, the member that just got killed and is now on the floor, you might as well say that Dr. Kano is Frankenstein. He brought that man pretty much back to life by turning him into a QS. So, it might be different in a lot of ways, but he still turned them kind of into zombies. I mean, it's different, obviously, but still, just seeing how he does this, it's very ironic that all these people that are popping up and about to fight Kuro is kind of in a way dead members or assumed dead members of CCG or missing members, and Dr. Kano experimented on their bodies to turn them into something like this. It's funny, it's ironic, and I wonder if Dr. Kano, even though he said Dr. Frankenstein, if he was actually trying to say maybe he is. I don't know, but just pointing that out, I just want everybody to take note of that because it's just very funny when you take a moment to figure out that he's just using CCG bodies as QS members right now. That's exactly what he's doing. Anyways, the fight pretty much ends right there, and we shift over to a new segment, and we go over to Naki and Misa. Now, this entire part of the chapter, I have to say, is probably my favorite. Instantly my favorite segment of the chapter because of Naki and Misa. Now, I've talked about in the past that Misa and Naki have had this relationship. I've talked about it. They had like this some form of hints of romantic relationship and all that, and I mention it from time to time. And we know that Misa supposedly died to Aro. We thought that Misa died. But apparently not. Misa, 3 blades or whatever, is completely fine. Completely fine. Everything was fine. But the reason why was because Naki saved her. Now this is the real sadness of this, okay? So, we shift over this scene. Misa wakes up, opens her eyes, and then sees someone standing over, which is Naki. And as I've talked about it many times over, Naki is not the most intelligent person. He's not. He literally, you might as well consider him kind of brain dead. But he's a good character. Overall, he's a very good character. He's a very good guy. I mean, he's been warped because, you know, he is a ghoul and he's had to live a difficult life. But overall, he's a very good guy. He's a good guy down to heart. And so, I'm not going to say he's a bad guy. I'm going to actually legit say Naki is a very, very good guy. And this man, he straight up saved Misa. He saved her, and he's just sitting here with his arms crossed and all that. And you know he's been watching over her to make sure nobody tries to attack her, nobody hurts her. He's just sitting here and all that. And everything looks fine from our perspective. You can see a little trace of blood on his back, but it looks like everything is completely fine so far. She wakes up and says, Naki, and then all of a sudden, as she's trying to say something to him, he falls to the side, and you just see blood all on his back. So, we don't know at this time if he is necessarily dead. We don't know if he is dead. That is not 100% confirmed yet. That is not. Until we see his body, even like maybe a funeral or something, or a confirmation, we don't know if he is dead. We don't. We've seen it too many times in Tokyo Ghoul to say that the character is dead until we know for a fact he is dead. Arma's death, that pretty much said he was dead. Like, the way he died was like freaking death. Eto's death, there is still a likely possibility she could be alive. And yes, I'm holding on to it. I'm freaking holding on to it. I'm holding on to Eto still being alive. I'm not joking. She's best girl in this freaking series. There's no way I'm giving up on my Eto and she's gonna die that freaking easy. No. She's alive. Okay, but getting back into this. So we come to find out that Naki, since Misa was critically injured and was knocked out, Naki saved her. And what we see, what Naki did for her, is just savage. This man legit wiped out an entire CCG squad. You might not think much, because it's a human versus a ghoul. But you gotta factor in, this is a lot. If you look at all this is a lot of bodies, okay? And it's probably not even factoring in all the others that probably came after Naki when he was carrying Misa to this location. We're not even gonna factor them, but we also have to factor in that the stress of trying to protect someone that's on the verge of death. I mean, think about it. Like, it's a lot easier to fight a battle knowing you don't have to protect someone than fighting a battle than when you have someone right behind you, and if you were to drop dead, that person will die. It's a lot harder. It adds a lot more stress to the mind. So Naki was probably stressing the fuck out because he had to protect someone. He was fighting for them. I mean, he's lost already a lot of people. We know how Naki feels about losing people. We saw him cry, and he was really sad. And so he probably used everything he had to make sure not another person he cares about dies. And he sat there pretty much like an iron wall to fight all these CCG agents that rushed him to try to kill Misa and him. He fought until his very last breath, according to what we see here. And then, from what we see, he drops dead. Now, like I said, we don't know if he's completely dead, but he is a savage. Just to see what Naki did for her, fought all these people off, killed them, they're all on the ground. It's absolutely insane. I'm just glad to see Naki did something just that heroic. I mean, he was a hero, honestly. Naki was a true hero in this chapter for what he did for her. And I mean, if he does survive this, I want to tell you right now that these two are definitely getting together. I'm just going to say right now, Misa is definitely going to have these very strong feelings for him. I mean, very strong. Probably want to be with him if he does survive because of what he just did for her. I mean, look, he just falls over and all that. And then you have these, like, 3 bubbles pop up. Now, this is where I speculate that he might still be alive. Because, as soon as he falls over, you see this little speech bubble with ... This could imply that he was trying to mumble or something. Like he's, you know, asleep or something. And maybe because of Misa's reaction face, like, you know, all, like, shocked, even starts crying, it's probably because maybe, you know, Misa realizes he is alive somewhat. Like, he's still somewhat clinging to life, and so she's trying desperately to hope that he survives, and then she starts crying. Now, as she's leaning down, sad, you see this figure walk into the room. Now, this is a lot of speculation I'm about to do here, okay? So, this final part of the chapter. A shadow is walking into the room. There's multiple people this could be. And I've been thinking about this very hard of who could this be? Who could this figure be that is walking up into this room where Naki and Misa is? Instantly, when I read this chapter, I thought it was Ara. I thought it was Hanbi. You know, that's who exactly I thought this person was. But then I remembered that Hanbi was on the ground. The reason why I thought it was Hanbi in the first place is because Hanbi has that, you know, very straight, long hair. And he also wields a katana Quinke. So we know that all the certain little features here, it does look like it's Hanbi. But we have to factor in he was gravely injured by Kuro. He was on the ground with an injured leg. So we can't necessarily say this is Hanbi, but it looks like it was. If Hanbi wasn't on the ground, I would point blank state that that is definitely Hanbi right there at the end of this chapter. But since he is hurt with a bad injured leg, I highly doubt it's him. So let's look at the details we have going on here with this shadowy figure. For one, I want everybody to take note of the right hand. The right hand that this shadow figure has, it looks like he is wielding something. He is definitely holding on to something. Some were speculating that it might be Marude. Might be, you know, him holding a gun. But looking at closer inspection, now it could be the scans too making it a little darker. That is a possibility. I've talked about this. but it looks like a sword. It looks like someone is holding a hilt and then a sword. That's exactly what it looks like to me. And it might be even a broken, shattered sword at that. So we have to factor in that this man is holding like a katana-type quinke. Now, the outfit as well looks like some form of CCG outfit. That's exactly what it looks like. You can tell by the way the outfit entirely looks, and also the way it looks like a robe going all the way down, like a trench coat. And then you have to see the collar, too, the coat collar. There is a coat collar. If you look very closely, there is a coat collar on this person. If you look to the right side of the head, you see to where there's like a little indent, like a coat collar. So it does look like it is some form of collar. So this person has long hair going all the way down into the coat collar, is holding some form of quinque or some form of sword in his hand in the right hand, and has a coat on. Now we have to factor in who could this possibly be. We do know the timelines are varied right now when it comes to Rue Island and the Ghoul prison. We do know that time is completely warped. At the beginning of the prison, when we saw the arc begin and everybody was starting to kind of dive into the prison, we do know that Almond was there. But now Almond is on Rue Island. So we do know that there is a big gap between the timelines. So there is a possibility a character from maybe the Ghoul prison could be in this arc, for instance, like someone like Almond. Now, I don't think it's Kaneki because the hair looks way too straight. It looks way too straight compared to, you know, what Kaneki's hair looks like. I mean, he could be having like a bandana or something around it like we saw, but I mean, overall, I just don't think it's Kaneki. Now, some were saying it could be Nishiki. I don't know. I don't think it's Nishiki. I really doubt that one. Now, Furuta? It might. It could be Furuta. I mean, the hair and all that, it's a possibility it could be Furuta. Now, other characters too, I mean, some are saying, like Marode, as I said, but I highly doubt it's Marode. I highly doubt it's Hambi because, I mean, he got hurt. Furuta, maybe. Let's see. Some were saying Tatara as well. Some were definitely saying it could possibly be Tatara, but I'm like, I kind of doubt that as well. I doubt that's Tatara as well, so who could it be? I have no idea. I really have no idea. So, I'm just going to leave it here for now. I have no idea who it could possibly be, but it's going to be rather shocking, whoever it's going to be. Hopefully this person doesn't kill Misa and Naki, because that'd be rather sad. So, you all have a wonderful day or night wherever you live. Please be safe. Chibi out.